My panel, Liberal MP Jason Falinski from the Labor Party, Patrick Gorman. Jason's late, Patrick.
He is.
To start. He's going to walk on. He's doing a walk on.
He's arriving.
Did you guys start without me again?
Well, we were going to. You just made it. You were going to be particularly shamed. In the end, it's just a partial shaming, perhaps we'll call it. Good to have you here.
Nice to be here, thank you.
Nice to be in the
Are you
studio
going to
with
leave
you,
early,
Patrick.
Are you going to leave early too?
Oh, it depends what Tom says. Or you, for that matter.
Normally, when you're late, you give a reason. Is there?
I thought we started at 11:40.
All right. So
You got a note?
we'll call it a
late
communication
note?
breakdown. Let's get into what's happening on the political side of things today. Interesting from the Treasury Secretary, 150,000 jobs to go roughly when JobKeeper ends. Are you comfortable with that figure?
Of course, no one's comfortable with, of course I am not comfortable with that. No one's comfortable with people losing jobs. But we can't continue to have a situation in which, by the way, I think it's really unfair you threw the first question to me as I'm still catching my breath. However, I think it's we can't continue with a situation where half of Australia is paying for the other half to be in work. We need to get back to normal. We need to be generating new jobs and we need to be expanding our economy as we normally do.
But it's not half to keep the other half. 150,000 is a tiny percentage. We've got, what, today another 135 million to jobs in the arts and entertainment sector, which a lot of them are saying won't be enough. The issue here is there will be jobs
Tom, can I ask you
events.
a question? Has there ever been a government program where the recipients have said, actually, this is enough?
JobKeeper might have been one.
I don't think so. There were still people saying, oh, we need more than this.
Yeah, the universities.
The units, I rest my case.
The event,
Yeah, they got a pretty rough deal.
there'll be businesses, though, won't there, in events, in international tourism, that could be there and thriving in a year,
Yes.
but the gap's too long and they will die off.
And that's where we need to move. So we need to move from a general stimulus package that has broad-based approach to now getting down to specific sectorial help. Events is one, live entertainment is another,
So this will save
travel
events
agents
and
are a
live
third. Well, we will need to keep going back and making sure that...
Right,
those
so this is a
sectors are
watching
being-
brief. If businesses start falling over in cans, you'll intervene again.
Well, that's not my decision, but
government.
But the government
You'd like to
would
think they
absolutely would look at that. Yeah.
Patrick, we haven't had a firm alternative presented by Labor other than just keep JobKeeper going, whereas we know a lot of businesses are back on their feet, so it seems too broad.
Look, it is good news that some businesses are back on their feet, but 150,000 people losing their jobs in coming months is a pretty scary thing. We don't have access to the Treasury modelling that the government has access to. We've been very constructive.
Would you understand it anyway?
We've been very constructive throughout this pandemic. I think our record shows that. It's not unreasonable to say that, as Jason said, there should be a proper package for tourism operators who are suffering because of international border closures. There should be a package for the arts sector who are suffering because our economy is not as it was before COVID.
So is that Labor's official stance on this, that there should be sector-specific assistance, more of it, available from April 1?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that we are now 3 days from the end of JobKeeper. So JobKeeper is going to end.
But I'm just trying to mark here.
We can't go back in time until we
Sure, but I'm just trying to find out what Labor thinks would have been a good idea, because in 3 months, if this isn't going well, I want to be able to go back and say the specific suggestion you made. So you're talking about sectors, the ones you named there, should have more assistance than is being provided by the government.
Look, the simplest thing to do would be for this government to have either delivered sector-specific packages before they wound down JobKeeper, and also to acknowledge that their end of JobKeeper was also tied to their promise around progress on the vaccine. The reality is the government had said, we're going to end JobKeeper at the end of March, by which time they expected about 4 million vaccine doses to have been delivered in the arms of Australians. That hasn't happened.
All right.
So it's entirely reasonable to say, don't cut these things off too early when you don't have a plan for what's next. And even what Jason just said, it's clear there isn't a plan for what happens to those 150,000 people. I've got 8,000 people in my electorate whose jobs still rely on JobKeeper. Now, I hope they all have a job over the next month, but I'm very fearful people are going to be knocking on my door saying, I've lost my job, and the reason that has been given is that the businesses are
We'll know soon enough on that, so perhaps we'll be talking in the real world experience by then.